Hello and welcome to the Saviour of Humanity. Now also I'm just being a bit silly here and a bit facetious, but if you do look through the Kama Sutra that is the Volkswagen brochure of cars, the new all-electric ID3, that's this car, that needs to become the missionary position, the default car, the normal one, the one you do when you've just got a job to do and no energy to do it. It needs to become the car for the normal person, like the Beetle and the Golf did before it. It needs to be the car that really democratizes electric power, so the rest of us enthusiasts can still razz around in 911 GT3s when the time comes, because all the normal people that, you know, don't really care about cars can just have a good, solid electric car. But is it a good, solid electric car? I'm going to try and find out. Now let's get the electric-y performance stuff out of the way first. I don't know why I'm opening this, because the motor is actually on the rear axle. It's the size of a gym bag apparently, and it only weighs 90 kilograms with the gearbox as well. Now this first edition has a 58 kilowatt hour battery pack. You're going to be able to get a bigger 77 kilowatt hour and a smaller 44 kilowatt hour version. This will do about 260 miles, according to the EU at least, on a single charge, and the bigger battery pack's going to be able to do 340 miles on a charge, which is kind of like normal car territory, but that'll obviously be more expensive. Now there's nothing particularly sexy under here. There's a 12-volt battery, because all electric cars need a 12-volt battery to power the interior stuff. There's air filters, washer fluid, steering fluid, brake fluid, all that kind of stuff is under here. There's just no engine, because, well, that's at the back, under the floor. And I can't even show you that because it's obviously hidden away, and it's probably not very interesting to look at. The important thing is that this can take 100 kilowatt rapid charge, and Volkswagen says that will get from 0 to 80%, which is 180 miles of range, in 30 minutes, which is pretty good going. I will try it out at some point. Whether I remember to film it or not is another question. But yeah, so you can get fast charging. Not as fast as something like a Porsche Taycan or an Audi e-tron, but you know, 36 grand car. We're getting there, aren't we? We are getting there. We just need more bloody chargers. Come on, UK, you can do it. What else do you really need to know about the outside of the ID3 other than what it looks like? Well, it weighs about 1.8 tons, and Volkswagen says it's produced in a carbon neutral factory and a carbon neutral process, and they've actually worked with their battery suppliers, in fact all of their suppliers, to try and offset all of the carbon that is made when they're making these, which is quite a big deal when you think about it, because if, the dream, everyone that currently drives a Golf ends up driving one of these, think how much better the world will be. Probably. Actually, I say that, it is 2020, the worst does seem to always happen, so maybe everyone that buys one of these will, I don't know, get the pox. Now, if the ID3 is going to out-Golf the Golf, it still needs to do the practical family thing that the Golf does so well, and yeah, it does. The boot's 385 litres on this, which is actually 4 litres bigger than the Mark 8 Golf. You've got some charging cables in here, but you can leave them at home if you want to. It's just practical. It is, isn't it? I wonder if, in the future, the Golf will slowly die and it'll be replaced with this name. I think I've cottoned on to Volkswagen's master plan here. The ID3, is it the new missionary? What's the Passat? Doggy? Now onto the rear seats. Is there room for your kids? Yes, I've got my daughter's child seat in there with no problems. I'll get in there. This is in my driving position. Yeah, it's fine. It's like a Golf. Yeah, I've got headroom, I've got knee room. My feet do fit under there, though, I don't know. Yeah, it feels like, I hate to be all a bit boring here, but there's not loads of room under the seat in front for your feet, but it's not bad. It's better than the Lexus UX 300e, whatever it was I reviewed the other day. You've got pockets here for your mobile phones and tablets. Yeah, it's sensible. Bye. Though I have just found this, which is probably full of week-old milk. The joys of parenthood. Yeah, I could do long distances in the back of here. That's all you need to know. And if I could do it, your little whippersnappers probably could. Actually, I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I think the roof does slightly encroach on your headroom at the side. And these C-pillars, as I'll probably say in the driving bit, are massive, so you don't get a great view out the back. But yeah, it doesn't feel claustrophobic. That's the main thing. Ooh, the doors are ribbed as well, for your pleasure. They really have got into this whole sex thing, haven't they, Volkswagen? Interesting. Now, the rest of the interior is pretty cool, actually. Volkswagen's done a decent job. For a start, it's not all black. You've got white bits in this one, although there is already some staining on the steering wheel, so I'd probably go for a black one of those. This is quite cool. You actually only get window switches for the front two windows and a little button to press to make the same switches operate the rear windows, if that makes sense. And even the mirror control thing feels a bit Apple-y. So yeah, well done. You get a 5-inch infotainment screen type thing up here for your driving display, your speed, your adaptive cruise control, and your sat-nav instructions are all shown up here. This is actually the gear lever, so you put your foot on the brake, that puts it into drive, that makes it reverse, and if you're in drive already and do it again, it puts it in a more highly regenerative braking mode, and you put it in park by pressing the button on the end there. It's all very straightforward, and it leaves the center console free for cup holders, mobile phone holders with wireless charging, and actually you can get 2 phones in there at once, only one will charge, and you've got an infotainment screen, which I will talk to you about now from a different camera angle probably. The infotainment is a 10-inch color touchscreen, and you can do this to change screens. I didn't actually realize that. There we go. Right, so it's the current Volkswagen Group infotainment screen. I'm not going to bang on about how much it annoys me, because actually it's been all right. You can just type in any POI in natural search and it will just come up there. You can see the map very easily. You can do all this. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you do need to plug in, and you've got USB-Cs in this car, so you'll want an adapter if you're a normal person. It is a bit of a faff to find out certain things, because when you're driving and you just want to quickly see how much charge you've got left, it does show you on the driver's display, but it's up here. If you want to kind of actually see your miles per gallon electrically, your miles per kilowatt hour, you have to flick through to this screen here. I've nearly crashed doing that, but hey, that probably says more about my driving than the infotainment screen. As usual, volume's on here as a swipey thing, and you make it hotter and colder using these. I have had a few bugs with this car, and I think it's fair to say the ID3 is a bit notorious for some software bugs at its launch. The mode button, when I first got the car, just didn't work. I think the car's off now, so it's not meant to work, but yeah, I had to turn the car off and on to get the mode button to work, to put it in sport mode, comfort mode, all of that jazz. If you want to turn the lane keep assist off, which you will, because otherwise you'll just want to destroy it, you have to go in through here, lane assist, and then back. There's no quick button on the steering wheel, so far as I can work out, to turn that off. And I don't know, this is cool that you've got all this prettiness, but it's not, I don't know, it's not as obvious as it should be. Just tell me how to turn road sign recognition off. Don't give me a fancy little graphic. I just don't think it's a great user experience. I've banged on about this before. I guess we're stuck with it, and the more you use it, the more you will get used to it, blah, blah, blah. But it's one of my bugbears. It is pretty, at least. Nice graphics, very sharp. You adjust the seat heating here. No, you don't. You press that, and then you go like this. Again, that's just one touch too many. Just let me touch it down there. Let me touch you, Volkswagen. I want to touch you in all the places. Oh yes, one other thing. The little switches for the volume on the steering wheel, you kind of get haptic feedback through them. I don't hate it. That's what I'll say about that. I don't hate it. I quite like it, actually. It does feel a bit, I don't know, it feels a bit clunky, but you get a noise played through the speakers at the same time as pressing it. And you get the new Volkswagen badge, which is all lovely and flat and modern. But yeah, it does feel a bit special in here, I have to say. If I was going to go proper motoring journalist on it and poke all of this, fuck off! What a surprise, reviewing a Volkswagen and it starts talking at me. If I was going to get proper motoring journalist on its ass, this stuff is all quite hard. This grey bit here is squidgy, but everything else on the doors is all pretty hard and plasticky. I feel like the Mark 7 Golf, the previous gen Golf, was a squidge fest. This is a bit harder, but you know, whatever, it's an electric car, you're paying for your motors and stuff, and less money gets spent on the interior, I guess. Oh, sorry, one other thing that I've just found. There's an engine start and stop button down here. I've been living with this car for a week and I've only just found it. So yeah, I don't know what. I've not used that. Is that weird? You've got an engine start stop button that I've only just discovered, and I've done about 200 miles in this car. One thing that's very handy if you're not sure which pedal does what in an automatic car, are the pause and the play buttons on the pedal. That's the brake, that's the accelerator. It's nice, it's kind of quirky, it's kind of cool. I don't mind it, but if you're a hardened cynic on the internet, you'll probably think that's really childish. And yes, my boots do need resoling. If you know anywhere in the UK that can put new soles on Red Wing boots for less than, say, £5,000, please do let me know in the comments, because I'm struggling a bit and I don't want to fall on my arse as soon as it gets vaguely icy outside. So what's the Volkswagen ID.3, probably missed a dot there, actually like to drive? Well, first impressions, as soon as you get in it, are it feels a bit special. It feels a bit different, kind of in the same way that the BMW i3 did all those years ago. Here, Volkswagen has given you really, really good visibility out the front. You've got these kind of little windows here, these quarter lights, and it feels like you're in a kind of wrap-around spaceshipy cockpit. Downsides and the visibility front are the C-pillars at the back are quite thick, so your view over your left shoulder actually isn't all that great. But it's easy. There's no stop-start button. You just get in it, you twist a little gear selector, and off you go. There's no faffing about or, you know, turning a key or pressing a start button. You just sit in the seat and go. So it does feel futuristic in that respect. Acceleration is pretty good. This is not 62 miles an hour in 7.3 seconds. Limited top speed of 99 miles an hour. Usual kind of everyday electric car kind of stuff, but it feels brisk, you know, usual mid-range punch you get from an electric motor. You can actually get a little wiggle from the back tyres, because obviously this is rear-wheel drive. I was driving it in the wet, and out of junctions you get like a ½ inch of slip if you're being a hooligan. Nothing that's going to scare your nan, but you know, a nice reminder that it is rear drive. Yeah, it feels good. Downsides, the suspension, as with all electric cars, it does feel a little bit thuddy over bumps. It's not bad, it's not uncomfortable. You can just kind of hear and sense that 1.8 ton mass. But otherwise, I've really enjoyed driving this, and that's the main thing. It does feel a bit different to other electric cars. It just feels more spacious and you feel good about yourself in it. Could do with a sunroof because it's a bit dark, but you know, foibles. Actually quite impressed. I expected it to feel a bit more missionary position. It feels a bit spicier than that, to be honest. So yeah, driving it is nice. I'm going to do some motorway speeds in a minute and I'll tell you how it feels at motorway speeds. Motoring journalism. Sorry, real world review. Right, 50 mile an hour up to 70, let's go! We're there. That is motorway speeds. As you can hear, it's alright. There's a bit of tyre roar. There's no wind noise. Yeah, it's about the same as a Golf, I dare say. It's not too bad at all. Obviously, when driving an electric car at motorway speeds, the range tends to drop dramatically, and this is no different, really. But hey, it's nice to drive. You can use it as a car. So far, so missionary. Right, back to you, Tim. So, does the Volkswagen ID3 do enough to make electric cars feel normal and feel like a car that you could recommend to people that are otherwise going to buy something like a Golf? Yeah, Volkswagen has pretty much smashed this out of the park. I've really enjoyed a week with this car, and usually, I don't know, these things just feel a bit synthetic and a bit forced, and there's always something about electric cars that makes you feel like they're trying to do something different. This does just feel like a normal car that you can live with. It's got very few foibles, nothing that's going to annoy you, and nothing that's going to annoy the kind of people that would otherwise be buying a normal car. So if you've got someone in your family or your friends who, you know, buy a Golf every 3 years and they only need 260 miles of range or 340 when the big one comes out, There's really literally nothing wrong with this. It's got a few plasticky bits of interior trim, but again, I've always said this before, if you press the dashboard and poke things and flick plastic and I say, oh, I don't like that, I don't want to be your friend because you're boring. But yeah, ID3, I mean, it's decent. It's really decent, and yes, other cars can charge faster, but they're more expensive, something like a Tesla or an Audi e-tron. For a little family car, it's not compromised in any way. You can fit your kids in it, you can fit stuff in the boot, it's nice to drive, you can do motorway cruises in it. It's got all the latest tech that you would expect from Volkswagen. And one question that people keep asking, do I think that Volkswagen put more effort into this than the Mark 8 Golf? Frankly, yes, they needed to, because this needs to be a success. The 3 in ID3 means it's the third car after the Beetle and the Golf, the third pillar of Volkswagen, the third massive success story for them. And fingers crossed, this does the job and really does democratize electric power, because God knows we need it. Otherwise, all the geckos in Madagascar are going to be dead, and my daughter's not ever going to get to see a giraffe, which frankly makes me sad. So anyway, buy an ID3 and save the giraffes. I'm going to get a GT3 Touring, if that's all right. Thank you for watching. I was about to walk off. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit my bell, and I'll see you very soon for more unsensible car reviews.